So I think the two guys that hate Goku more than any other villain is Broly and Zamasu. And we're going to discuss on this video which one of the two we think is, has more hatred for Goku. And I'm going to put a poll in the upper right hand corner of this video for you guys to vote. Let me know who you guys think hates Goku more, Zamasu or Broly. And myself and my guest here are going to be analyzing kind of their hatred for Goku and kind of giving our opinions here. Please welcome a man who really needs no introduction to my channel. We love having him here for these kind of discussions, and of course I'm interested in hearing what he has to say about it because he's done in-depth videos on both of these characters over on his channel, Laughing Stock Media. Please welcome Mike.
Hey guys, it's Mike here from Laughing Stock Media, and I can't wait to talk about this topic.
Yes, I can't either, and that's why I brought you on. So I put a poll on Twitter a few days ago, and in the poll was who hates Goku more, and on Twitter Broly won, but not by much. Now I want to talk about these two characters, Mike. I want to start first of all with Broly because we saw Broly way back in Dragon Ball Z. Broly has 3 movies dedicated to him, and his whole reason behind hating Goku is that Goku would not stop crying when he was in the crib together with Broly because they were both born on the exact same day. What a coincidence. And as a result of Goku's constant crying for those like few hours that he was in the crib, because he was, the planet blew up shortly after that. Broly, of course, would survive, but nonetheless, he wasn't there too long. Those few hours of Goku crying was enough to drive Broly into a murderous rage to kill Goku, and I feel like a lot of people in the real world, even though this Broly has tons of fans, they can't really relate to a character having that much hatred over something that happened the day they were born.
Yeah, I completely agree because I don't really remember the day I was born. I mean, the only thing I can think of with Broly is maybe the stabbing at the time kind of, opened up some sort of traumatic memory by which he associates Goku and is crying with, and that might be why he hates Goku. But aside from that, it just kind of feels like when you actually see the movie itself, it's just that he was pissed off that Goku just wouldn't shut up and he was trying to sleep, something like that.
I wish I had the memory to remember what happened to me when I was less than a day old. But Broly hates Goku so much that every time he sees Goku, he blasts off in this murderous rampage to the point where even in the second movie, Broly sees Goten, who resembles a kid Goku, and he freaking gets really pissed off. Same thing with, of course, the third Broly movie. Now, then we have Zamasu. I want to talk about Zamasu for a little bit here. Zamasu is a different story. Zamasu is, first of all, obviously Broly was not created by Toriyama. He was created by Takao Koyama. Zamasu, we believe, was Toriyama's creation, of course, from Dragon Ball Super. Zamasu, depending on what version of the events you want to go by, in the anime, well, it's kind of the same thing, but a little bit different. In the manga and anime, he hates Goku because he doesn't feel like mortals should be interacting with gods or Ningen humans, whatever. That's his reasons for hating Goku. Now, in the anime, they add an extra layer to the character by actually having Goku spar with Zamasu, and Zamasu getting salty because he realized that a mortal was strong enough to compete with a god, which he had never seen, which tells me, Mike, that Universe 10 team for the Omniversal Tournament ain't going to be that strong. Because, you know what I mean? Like, Goku wasn't even going all out, and this guy's like, wow, he's hanging out with gods? Like, I feel like the Universe 10 fighters might have to work on the training a little bit, but...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things is looking at the Universe 6, I mean, Goku's Super Saiyan form alone back then was enough to pretty much overwhelm all of the other characters in the tournament. So, this guy... I don't see them really being above him unless unless we find out he, like the Kaioshin of our Universe 7, is also incredibly weak and everyone else just, mocks him all the time. That's why he was salty.
Yes, it's weird. I mean, obviously in the manga version, it was different because Zamasu saw Goku on GodTube fighting Hit, and he started getting salty there, mostly at jealousy. So what we have here is we have two different motivations, I guess. We have Broly being annoyed and kind of, mentally challenged. I hate to say it, but he comes off that way. Like, he does come off that way to where it doesn't make any sense. And then we have Zamasu, who is jealous, envious of Goku. He wants Goku's power, but somehow, Mike, that hatred for Goku transfers itself or evolves into a hatred for all mortals. And I think that might have to do with his little trip he took to the Barbary. I like how he just sees one group of barbarians being barbaric, and all of a sudden he condemns the entire existence of mortals, even the ones that have done great things. But again, this is Dragon Ball. It's fiction. It's a wacky villain. So what do you think?
When it comes to Zamasu and his hatred compared to Broly's, I feel like you made a really great point about how his hatred evolved and Goku became more of like symbolism and an allegory for all mortals. Because
Yeah.
if you remember,
Yes.
when he becomes the fused merged Zamasu, he even mentions how he took a mortal named Son Goku into his body so that he could kind of like bear the sins of all mortals within him, which is kind of like allegory for Christianity to a
Yeah,
degree.
very creepy stuff there when it comes to that.
Oh yeah. So when it comes to like pure hatred, I feel like Broly probably is more, like pure hatred towards Goku because that's like all he thinks about and cares about when he's torturing Gohan and Goten and all these other people on Earth. It's because he wants to fight Goku and get back at Goku, and he sees they're all the children of Kakarot, his mortal enemy. So I feel like even though Zamasu is more powerful and he is a greater threat overall to everything that Goku really stands for in many ways, when it comes to pure hatred of a mortal, I feel like Broly probably is going to edge Zamasu out right there.
So you think as far as hatred for just Goku, 'cause that's a good point. I feel like Zamasu has hatred for Goku, but I think his hatred, like you said, expounded, whereas Broly just hates Goku. I mean, but the thing is that, Broly doesn't necessarily hate anybody else. I mean, he seems to not even care about Vegeta, who really he should care more about him because it was his
Mm-hmm.
father who cut his ass or whatever when he was a baby.
But
But
Vegeta's not the main character now, is he?
Exactly, right? And Broly's got something wrong with him. He's got a couple screws loose. But the thing is that Broly does enjoy destruction. And that's one thing that these two characters have in common is they both are psychologically, psychopaths. I mean,
Hmm.
Broly does enjoy destruction, but I think a lot of it, honestly, is Broly being, I guess he thrives on being really powerful because you can tell, that scene that you've talked about many times, so have I, where he says that my ki is overflowing. He's like reveling in the fact that he's so strong.
Hmm.
Whereas with Zamasu, I noticed that, you've got the future Zamasu and then Goku Black Zamasu. And I noticed that, and this is great writing, I thought, future Zamasu was more concerned about being immortal. He just enjoyed his immortality. Whereas the present Zamasu, who took over Goku's body, that he was starting to kind of take the Saiyan traits where he's like,
Yeah.
I'm getting stronger and I like it. And then future Zamasu's like, well, you could be immortal. And then Goku Black says, well, what if I get lazy? See, he's
Hmm.
becoming more like Broly and Goku and Vegeta and the other Saiyans. I really, really enjoyed that. I think that's a great little touch that I think a lot of people are forgetting about when it comes to the Goku Black character.
Yeah, I mean that's why he's arguably my favorite villain, at least, in the super portion and post Cell Dragon Ball. I mean, he might be arguably up there as my second favorite villain of the entire franchise, and there was such great writing character-wise revolving around the villains. The other stuff, maybe you could argue about that all day long.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Broly's backstory needs work. I think it's a good backstory, but I think it also isn't too great. Only because I feel like the whole getting kicked out of the planet and like being ostracized for being too strong. That's
Hmm.
great, but it does seem like more of a plot like the Safurians, would like Baby, for example. It's kind of like that whole revenge plot thing where Vegeta has to pay for the sins of his father. Like that whole, thing. It's been done a lot in Dragon Ball. It's been done
Yeah.
3 times, actually, in Dragon Ball. I think 3. I can't think of any other time but 3. With if you include Plan to Eradicate. But I feel like Broly should have not been so crazy. I guess that's part of his charm is that he was out of control. Whereas Zamasu seems
Yeah.
very calculated. See, that's one thing. Zamasu went to the future with all that knowledge he had, and he knew that if he killed the Kaioshin, that the gods of destruction would also die. So he knew that Universe 7 was all messed up because there was no Beerus there, because Supreme Kai died during the Buu fight. So this guy's much more of a calculating kind of, methodical villain, whereas Broly's just freaking insane.
Yeah, Broly is just an insane berserker rage fueled tank who just walks in, he destroys and crushes everything in his way until, eventually they have to write him out of the movie because he's too strong and he gets killed with one punch.
Yeah, and then Zamasu in the meantime, he calculates all his moves. He pretty much had a tight plan. I'm gonna go to the future. I'm gonna talk to myself. I'm gonna make one of us immortal. Like the dude had. If it wasn't for the Omni King, he won. And that's the one thing that I'll never forget about this character is that at the end of the day, Zamasu got his wish. He wiped away all the mortals. It wasn't of the main timeline, but he still got his wish, and I'll never forget that. Broly never got revenge on Goku for
No.
crying. So let us know in the comments two things. Number one, which villain do you like more? I think Zamasu's going to win because he really took everybody by surprise. Even Broly fans have to admit that he took everybody by surprise. But also, I want you to comment who hates Goku more. Leave your poll, or I have a poll. Leave your votes in the upper right, and of course, check out Mike from Laughing Stock Media. How's it going? I'll leave a link to his channel. He has a huge breakdown, including his biggest video ever, which is why Broly isn't that strong. And if you don't like doing math, watch the video because he'll do the math for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So make sure to check that out, and thank you, Geekdom, for having me on the video. I really appreciate it.
All right, we'll catch you down the road.